What's happening, guys? Rob from AdvSouthAfrica here. I'm about to prep for another pitch and ride. Really excited to join another one of those. They're always a good jam. But on the last ride, on my 1-year celebration, the bike was sputtering a little bit, backfiring a little bit. So I think it's time for valve adjustment. It's a good time to just go in there and see what's happening anyway. And I need to do a carb clean and just sort one or two little things out. So I thought I'd film it, take you along on the journey, and then you can do your valve clearances at home as well. So without a second longer, let's get into it. Okay, awesome. To do valve adjustments, we do need to remove some covers. This needs to come, and the two actual sort of valve covers need to come as well. So I'm going to pull those off quickly. This one just has a bolt from the other side apparently, so I'll pull that out. We will then check where our timing is at and then adjust valves. We don't need too many tools, but we do need a feeler gauge and we do need some spanners. So let's get into it. Okay, so now I've got the covers removed. We do need a set timing, but before I do that, I wanted to show you exactly what the bike's doing so you can get an idea, and maybe your bike's doing the same thing. You can fix it this way. So let's address that. To set timing on this motor, there's two markings that we need to follow. So you'll see at the top there's an F and a T. We're looking for T for timing, and that will line up with the notch at the top of the motor. In my case, there it is, but it does want to move back, so I'll just put a little rag or something just to keep it there to make sure that the timing's right. And then on the top of the head, we need to line up this marking with the notch that's in the front of the head as well. So as long as these two line up, we know we're at TDC, top dead center, and we can adjust valves. Alrighty, so just to confirm, I managed to get a rag just to hold the magneto a little bit. So my T is lining up with its mark, and the marking on the top of the head is lining up. So let's go ahead, get a feeler gauge on the top of the valve and adjust them. Okay, this is quite a difficult one for me to film, but you can see the top of the tappet over here, and I actually have almost no movement there, so I'll double check that. And then same thing on the exhaust side. But let's go ahead, see if we can get a feeler gauge in between there, see what our spec is, and then adjust it to 0.1 mil for my spec, but yours might differ, just double check. Okay, so we're working with the valve that's on the top of the motor. This is our inlet valve. I have a 9mm spanner. We're just going to loosen that. Loosen the actual valve itself. Let's see if I can get a little bit of a hold on there. There we go. So in my case, I actually think my valves got too tight and they weren't reseating properly. So let's go ahead. I've got a 0.1 mil feeler gauge for my inlet valve. Gonna put that in there. Wow, even that's still tight since I've loosened it. There we go. Let's see if that's about right. Still too tight. Go a little bit looser. Okay, I've got my 0.1 mil feeler gauge in there. I'm then going to tighten onto it just slightly, so that we've got that measurement sorted. So my valve height is set. We're just going to go ahead and now tighten the adjustment just before we confirm it. So, wow, I'm way too tight in there. Let's go ahead and loosen a little bit. Give that a little bit of a bigger gap as well. It's a little bit tight working on the valves, but it's definitely worth it. It's not a difficult thing either. We've got our feeler gauge in there. 0.1 has a little bit of resistance. We'll then try a 0.15 just to confirm that won't fit in there. Then we know we're within tolerance. Okay, and it doesn't fit. So top valve is good, inlet valve is good, and you will see, you move with your finger, there's a very little bit of play. You can hear it. That's good, as long as that's right. Okay, so we repeat the same process on the exhaust valve, except the exhaust valve we're going to go to a 0.15 as opposed to a 0.1, so a slightly greater tolerance on the exhaust valve. I like using my fingers to tighten this because I can actually feel when I start to get resistance. Okay, we'll nip that and ensure that we've got some sliding, and then valve should be set. We have a little bit of movement. That valve is now set perfectly. Let's go ahead and pull that out. Okay, everything's tight. As you can see, our valve adjustment's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but when people hear it, they think, oh, this is difficult, but it's really not. It's something you can do at home. You just have to have the tools. But things like a feeler gauge really aren't expensive, and then you know your bike is running within spec, which is very important. This thing will rip, see that it's performing like it should. Yeah!